Hello, Tube Timers. Well, welcome back to another episode of Tube Time. This time, we are going to take a Candlestick phone and renovate it. Not restore it, not take it back to its original condition, because a lot of the original stuff just isn't acceptable for today's phone line. I want to use this thing when I'm done with it. So, let's take a look at it. What's going to happen? Here's the headpiece, the handle, obviously, the handset, and the base. And we're taking it all apart. Maybe I'll talk about a few parts as we're going through it. Take it apart and then take it over to a friend's, and perhaps we can buff this thing. It's pretty grody in certain spots. So let's start with the disassembly. Let's take apart the mouthpiece first. I do have the mouthpiece that screws in, but I decided something extraneous, some extra takeout. First thing we're going to do is remove several screws. These are nasty old things. These have been in and apart several times, I can tell. These old phones are somewhat dangerous because they were connected directly to the phone line. Can you imagine holding on to this phone when somebody knocked into a pole and the electrical wire fell down on the phone line and you're hanging onto this thing? Or even worse, during a lightning storm. Holy mackerel. It's hard to believe they allowed the stuff to be connected. But I guess they didn't know as much back then. Oh boy, how many screws are there? Probably 4, maybe 5. There we go. You know, I bought a new camera. It's coming from China in a few days. Probably next week. Hopefully get better video from it. I'm very unhappy with the video quality of these things right now, but c'est la vie. Okay, we're going to take this thing apart. Got a magnetic dish. Doesn't do much with brass screws. Okay. Bingo. This thing comes out. Oh, and that's held in by a little bit of a set screw up here. Oh, that's cool. Sadly, this whole darn thing is going to go the way of the garbages. This is a rather interesting phone piece. What happens is, as you speak, you vibrate this metal disc, which in turns vibrates a coil and magnet system back here that transmits the sound waves into electrical waves. I'm going to take this whole poor thing apart. Oh, by the way, when I do restorations, I said it again. When I do preservations, I always save the old parts in case, maybe one day I do want to restore it. So I'm going to keep as much of this assembly as possible so that I can perhaps return it to its original state one day, or even somebody else. So, okay, that's this part. Now what I'm going to have to do is take all this nonsense apart in here. See if I can get you down into a little more visibility here. A new tripod too for me, so I'm going to be a little bit clumsy. I apologize. The hard part's the waiting. No, just kidding. The hard part's the adjusting of things. Okay, so I have this mouthpiece assembly. I'm going to take off the spring retention clips. This is going to fight me all the way, isn't it? There we go. The problem with these things, and if you notice, there's adjustment points here and adjustment points back here. And these types of microphones had a tendency to go out of calibration and stop working properly. Well, I can't have any of that, that's for sure. So I decided that it's going to go, and it's going to go the way of the Dodo Bird, and I'll replace it with a brand new carbon mic that you can get off the old phone shop or the old phone guy. I'll poke a link down to his shop. He's a very good guy. He's an excellent place to get hard to find phone repair parts. keep my hands out of the, keep my hands, if I can, out of the workings of this video. Taking apart is so much fun. Putting back together is always such a hassle. I don't know how this is going to come apart in my hand. I guess we'll find out. I'll bag this up separately and label it as the mouthpiece. There. And there it is. That's all she wrote right there. So this is a Candlestick telephone. Whoops. Sorry, took it out of view. Candlestick telephone speaking diaphragm. Man, it's filthy. I wonder how many words have gone into this thing. Hope they were good words and not people, you know, criminal organizations doing criminal organization things. Huh. All right. Well, here's the mouthpiece. Not the mouthpiece. Boob. The voice coil, voice part. Now, these are what you call just, well, it's garbage now. It's just bits of fiberboard that was used to kind of insulate the mouthpiece from the sounds of the phone handling. But I think this is going to clean up just well, just fine. So this is what it's going to look like. I have a mouthpiece that sits right in there, and I think it's going to sit quite nicely, actually. Okay. I'll take it. Okay, so this part has to go out. Boy, how much of this did I take off the screen? An awful lot, I'm afraid. This has to be polished along the edges. I'll be able to mount a microphone in here right now very nicely with some double-sided tape and generally clean it up. Okay, Exhibit 1, going to the buffing house. Now, let's open this up. Let's see what we can do here. You know, I better do this before I get out of control here. I have some Ziploc bags that I'm going to place my parts in. Give us a little bigger field of view, and maybe I won't lose so many of you all the time. Sorry about that. I need to have a monitor I can look at when I'm doing this, so I don't take things off out of view. Huh. This is kind of interesting all the way around. Yeah, I think this mouthpiece would have required some serious restoration. Oh. By chance, I think this thing comes out. Another paper gem. And this paper, oh, that's even uglier in there. Probably not bad, just some sort of corrosion on the nickel. I believe this is a nickel plate. I don't think they chromed phones back then. Okay, mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. Too much computers. Alright, part 1, laid back. Part 2, the back of the mouthpiece. We're going to take this out of here. Boy, they built things nicely back then. Holy mackerel. Things could come apart. Oh, isn't this cute? Okay. Here is a little rivet of sorts that's threaded, has a threaded insert, and it threads together. It went through here, threaded together, and tightened this up. Okay, we'll save this for a little later. I'm going to have to go and look on an Instructables online or something and figure out how to read nickel plate stuff, because I don't think there's any much buffing some of that stuff. Now this ought to pop right out, and it does, more or less. Eek. More junk falling out of it. Well, there you go. Now, this thing is a grommet, a little rubber grommet. Huh. Oh, you got to see this. Okay, so here's the hole that the wire came through. This piece is threaded. This dinky little piece is threaded. So they didn't just pop it in, they actually kind of screwed it in. I love the detail of these old things. Beautiful detail. Okay. So this is on its way to the buffing wheel. I wonder how much of this grunge is missing plating and how much of it is old smoking residues. Okay. Oh, look at that. There's a line here, and it comes in here. Or they took it out here and brought it in through here to the plate. This, by the way, is pure wire, and the insulation is long gone. Just came off of my hand. This is the most beautiful, delicate, braided wire. Holy mackerel. Very exciting. It's exciting to me, at least. All right, so I'll put this thing over here. They had the wire coming up and out here. I feel inclined to try to bring the wire in and out because they only used one wire to talk to the voice plate, but they used the frame as a return path. And I'm not going to do any of that. There'll be nothing on this frame that's electrically hot or otherwise in the circuit. Okay. Now we have the bottom. And let's take the bottom apart. I don't know what's going to happen when we open this thing up. I really haven't poked with this thing very much. Just looked at it. Sure would like to use something like it again. I don't know why. I guess that's why we restore old radios and things. I have a tendency to like the old stuff. These screws are sticking nicely in my magnetic plate. So are all my other tools. Gonna have to get the demagnetizer out after I'm done with this to take the magnetics off the screwdriver. Easy to put back on, hard to get off. Okay. The moment of truth. Nothing. Not a darn oh. This had a metal bottom, if you noticed. But when you look inside, I see remnants of blue felt, which means it had a felt base on it. Oh, it's a split ring. I should be able to pop that off and get the felts out. Let's just see what happens. Am I going to get a cut today? That's the question. To stop the video and off to the hospital for a. There we go. Did it very nicely too. Sounded worse. Sounded worse than what it was because it's old and dirty and kind of stuck in there. There was a blue felt base that was on this thing. I have a piece of green felt. I bet it would work just as well. Huh. Garbage. Okay. This I won't do anything with because it doesn't show anywhere. So we'll put this in the, I don't know, I'll do something with you later pile. Alright, so now what do we have? Oh, this is the handset. And I want to get this handset out from here. So what I'll do is pop this off. This is the handset wire. I'll take the handset off. Man, I'm looking forward to a new camera. I bought one on it. I bought it on Amazon, real cheapy thing. Hopefully it'll work. Now we will. Yeah, absolutely. I got to get a monitor where I can see around what I'm doing because I'm gonna disappoint people with my videography skills. No, I don't have any videography skills. So who am I kidding? Okay, I'll only talk about this in a minute. I'm gonna pull these little things out of this. I mean, just to look at this. This is a nice ferrule that goes into this hole. Boy, I can't keep my fingers out of it. Goes into this hole, a little screw down, and that holds it in. Gosh, the detail, the craftsmanship makes today's stuff pale, I think. Pale, sadly. I don't know if I'll use this again. I did get another entire phone receiver from the old phone guy. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. Then I put the screw back in so I don't lose it. I'll lose it sure I was an inch tall. Oh yeah. My first boss had a politically incorrect saying for watching me work. But I'm not gonna. Sorry, people, I'm not gonna say it because somebody will take offense and probably should. Yeah, let's see. Get in there, you little digger. Well, I'll do you later. But let me show you how this works. I'm going to point out a couple of things here. This is an electrode. This is one pole of the voice of the hearing piece, the handset piece. This is a piece of insulation, so this metal does not connect to this. And the same thing over here. The other terminal of the earpiece insulated from the rest of the metal, and it's hollow in there. Now these are two. I guess the best thing I'd do is call them electromagnets that aren't used. There should be a metal plate in here that sits just above this. I don't know if you can see that or not. It sits just above this. And when you talk, it vibrated. And when it vibrated, it changed the impedance of this coil. And that's how it, as the metal plate got closer and farther away, it changes the impedance of this coil, which is how it changed the sound to electrical signal. All right. Now, I'm going to try to put the screw in one more time. Oh, yeah. For when I was a young man, these are surgeon's fingers. I could absolutely do almost anything with my fingers. Today, I'm getting a little older. Not so much. I like these parts. Well, I'm going to save all these parts as part of the original phone system. I'm going to pull this all out of here. Now, this thing just sits here. This just flopped in here. And I knew something was awry when I first got this thing out of the box. Shouldn't be like that. That's not good. Turns out this mouthpiece doesn't even belong on here. It's something added just to sell it on eBay. But I expected it is eBay. All right. So now we have this part. Oh, look at this, comes right out. Oh, I gotta do this again. I'm taking this off camera. Okay, back on camera because it's exciting. This is gonna come off. It just pulls right out like this. Oh, how nice. And then we have this piece, which is probably attached. Or is it screwed on? I'll have to look in there and see. I think there's threads. I can see threads in there. So it suggests I should be able to unscrew it. Except there's a stop block. I'm not going to fool with it. I'm just going to buff it as is. Okay, two buffing parts. Oops, got to get this plastic piece out of here. This doesn't screw in too, does it? I would hope not. Huh. My son, who works for a video company, photographic company, is probably looking at me and going, "Dad, what are you doing?" Anyways, I'll get that out later. That's not really germane to the point. Ooh, this is the heart of the thing. So this wire comes down through here. Gosh, look how much is missing. Look at this. This is the original green wire. And then you have the inner conductor that has been damaged through time. This is the switch hook assembly. This is a very important part of the phone. When you put your handset down, this metal piece is sprung back, and these are contacts, and that's how the phone gets hung up. See if I can do that out of the way a little better. Metal bar gets pressed down. You can watch this metal bar separate these two contacts, and that's how it works. Cool. This we'll leave alone until the buffing is done as well. Because this, we're going to use it, but it's not going to get wired exactly the same way. I'll have a schematic that shows. This is somewhat anticlimactic. I want to buff this too. So I got to figure how this comes off of here. And something tells me that's not going to be so pleasant. I want to buff the switch hook too. I wonder if I get this off easier. If I'll play some kind of hell getting this off. That screw is just not doing the thing. Okay. We get a little different screwdriver. Something with a little more beef, maybe. And a thin blade. Too thick. Yeah. Nope. Come on. Definitely not. Nope, nope. Phillips. That's not good at all. Yeah, I don't think this screwdriver is going to do the trick. I think it's too heavy. Blade's just a skosh too wide. Oh boy, so is this one. Oh, come on. Nope. Can't seem to get it without stripping the screw off. Well, where's Mr. Hamilton from Hamiltonville Farms? Papa Ham, as they say on... That's another good site I like to listen to, is Hamiltonville Farms. He did a lot of kind of neat things. He has this magic mystery oil and whatnot he uses for loosening screws and other parts in an automobile. Oh, well. Huh. I'm annoyed I can't get that off, because I got a funny feeling there's a lot up here that we're going to have to deal with, and I want you to see it. Okay, hold please, while I go get a little more aggressive tool. And we're back. I used a little 3-in-1 oil, and I was able to loosen that screw up quite nicely. I applied the 3-in-1 oil back here by where the threads were, and twisted like heck. Actually didn't take very long. 3-in-1 oil, I guess all oils are somewhat penetrating. Now we're going to take this top part off. What's going to happen? Oh, I was expecting some sort of catastrophic event. Nothing. Well, that was anticlimactic. Okay. This part that holds the mouthpiece has got to go off for buffing. So what do we have to buff? Oh, that's the tough part. I got to get this thing out of there. Oh yeah, really tough. Look at this. There's a little bit of a pin. Pulls out. And there you go. Buff this thing. How nice is this? 4 little pieces to buff. Isn't it amazing how they used to do things? I mean, how simple is this to take apart? I put the pin back in so I don't lose it. This is what would be technically called the switch hook. I've got some 3-in-1 oil up there. I think I want to wipe that off before it goes everywhere and causes some sort of a disgusting problem for me later. Okay, so what do we have? We have a disassembled phone. We used to be, when this episode started, it was a solid piece. We're going to take this and buff this down around here very nicely. Buff these parts. Buff this part. And this part. And this part. Headpiece. And then it should be a nice shiny phone. I'm fully expecting to see a lot of penetrations where the nickel has come off. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see. If it is the way it is, it is the way it is. This is just a preservation. It is not a restoration. So, how it comes out, it comes out. Anyways, Tube Timers, the next episode will be partial reassembly of this thing. I'll go over the circuit, begin to restore some of it, or replace some of it, and we'll go from there. Thank you for watching, Tube Timers, and if you liked her, give her a thumbs up, and if you didn't, just don't do anything at all. Thank you very much. Take care, and all of you have a good evening, and a happy Mother's Day.